Morning folks, Kevin here. Well, it's May 29th, 2018. I'm out in the central garden area and you can see the permanent raised beds behind me. Those are the beds that I recently posted a video showing adding compost to these beds. That was compost that I made last year. It sat over the winter time, and just recently I added compost to each one of the beds. I stirrup-hoed the area and all. The paths still need to be stirrup-hoed. I haven't posted a video yet, but I will post a video showing how I've gone ahead and done marginal weeding around the perimeter before I add a little bit more wood chips to the area and put the fencing up. But today I thought one of the things I'd like to do, since it hasn't gotten too hot yet, is to go ahead and use the garden tilther. Now, the garden tilther is one of those instruments that does a similar job to the rotary harrow. The rotary harrow you've seen in previous videos where I've used a unit that looks like a rototiller behind a walk-behind tractor, which is a BCS, an Italian-made tractor that I have. Now, that rotary harrow, the difference between a rotary harrow and a rototiller is a rototiller has a horizontal axis that goes parallel with the ground, and it has tines that disrupt, and they can dig right down into the earth and really turn it over, and it creates this beautiful soft bed, but it does lots of destruction to the microbial community within the soil. And the rotary harrow actually has vertical shafts as opposed to the horizontal shaft, and on those vertical shafts there's tines that go rotary. So in a sense they're disturbing just the first top few centimeters of the earth of the garden bed, so they're not really digging down in there very deep. Now, before using the rotary harrow, I use the broad fork, that great big fork, to go down and create some aeration and allow some water and air to get down into the deeper layers, and it doesn't really disrupt the microbial community as much as a rototiller does. And I'll be using the rotary harrow on some of the other beds potentially today after using the broad fork. But in this bed, because this was recently added compost, I'm going to be using the tilther. Now, the tilther has a horizontal axle shaft that is operated by a hand drill, a battery-operated hand drill. And that battery-operated hand drill rotates that shaft horizontally, and there's short tines on this unit, so it only disturbs the top surface. Now, typically these tilthers are used in greenhouses or high tunnels, season extension areas, because the BCS tractor with the rotary harrow really takes a little bit more room to turn it around, and you're wasting space inside of a growing structure like a greenhouse. However, the tilther also comes in very handy in situations like this, where I piled up the compost to the point where it's pretty darn high. It isn't so a lot of the compost has been set over the winter time, and since it's a large pile to start out with, it compresses and compacts, and it had rain on it, so there's chunks of compost in this whole system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strap the GoPro on my chest and see how that looks, as far as showing you how I'm using the tilther to mix and break up the very top surface level of it. It's got an aluminum back blade on it that helps to smooth out the top surface. I may do some raking and all. My goal is to get that broken down enough so it's really easy to put the transplants, or use a direct seeder like the Jang seeder, and start seeding these beds. So that's about it. What I'm going to start off with today, I'm going to use the tilther. I purchased this through Johnny's Select Seeds, and I'm not sure they're still carrying it. I know and I know Farmer's Friend also carries this. So I'll end up putting a link in the description below to wherever you can get the tilther. It's a really handy tool. It's much less, though it is expensive, it's much less expensive than investing in a big garden tractor, walk-behind tractor like I have, and the rotary harrow and the other implements. There's a function for both of them, but as far as a real small homestead and all, this might be a tool that you find very, very handy and to save you some time getting the beds prepped. So without any further ado, I'll just go ahead and get started. Well, I'm nearly done using the Tilther to prep the beds, the surface of the beds. I ran out of my old batteries for the old 18-volt DeWalt drill, and I have a newer one, a 20-volt, but I have to adjust the rope on the Tilther in order to use that. And I let a lot of these batteries sit in their various tools over the winter time and didn't charge them up completely in their older batteries. So I didn't finish all the beds yet. The first bed over here, I'll still have to do a broad fork and re-tilt it ultimately, but I thought I'd go down it and see how well it handled some of those chunks on the top. That Tilther does a really nice job of taking something that's somewhat unmanageable, that's really lumpy, bumpy and all, and prepping a pretty decent looking bed. Now the beds aren't finished yet. They need to be rolled, they need to have the drip tape, they need to have the landscape fabric down, all of those things done. But I thought you'd like to see what the Tilther can actually do. I'll put a link down below to the location wherever the Tilther is available now. I got it from Johnny Select Seeds. They're a really good supplier. They don't sponsor me on this YouTube station, but I think they really do sell some fantastic seed, really dependable germination of the seed, and their garden tools are pretty much tried and true, most of them. They do try out new pieces of equipment. Elliot Coleman has worked with Johnny's, Jean-Martin Fortier, as well as many other well-known gardeners and farmers. So I think that's about it for this video, just demonstrating the Tilther. I'll create some more videos using the BCS tractor, the two-wheel walk-behind tractor, and using some of the implements that I use with that tractor, which really helps to expedite things. This is a slower process with the Tilther. It's battery operated on a little power drill, but it does a pretty darn good job for what it's designed to do. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Certainly if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when I post a video, and certainly please give me a thumbs up if you think this was of value, and share it at will. Thanks folks, have a great day. Bye-bye now.